Ladies and gentlemen, we're live. And I would like to kick us off because we're now technically on episode 3. I can't believe you guys are still listening to us. If you're watching this, it's too late. The Moret episode has dropped. And I know you guys, whoever stayed for the episode 3 knows it was a hit. And shout out to Pope, because remember, if he ever comes on this podcast to host me,
we started actually narrowing in on the color. So we're making design decisions on this car, and I haven't heard anything from the Pope yet. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, Mr. Pope, hablamos español. If you ever want to jump on, I know you're from Argentina. Did a little research this last time. But today, right now, the world has changed a lot since the last episode, right? And we wanted to talk a little bit about what's going on, some current events. So what has changed since the last time? First of all, we have over 100 views, which means that we're now above the top 50% of podcasts, right? Because I think it was like 36 or 32.
The stat, I think it was 32 viewers or subscribers or something of that nature put you in the top 50%.
Wow. We are in the top 50%. Thank you guys for getting us there. Now we just have to get sponsors. Spotify, if you want to sign us for $100 million, we're all ears right now, baby. Contact our manager, which is literally just our tech guy.
All right. So we're at episode 3. What are we talking about? We haven't even started. Current events. That's the theme, right?
That's the theme.
Okay. And then how are we going to run this episode? We've had episode 1 introing it. Episode 2 was an interview. I think we had a banger with Murid. I think he has a crazy story. The one thing I will say about episode 2, and I thought it was awesome, is it blew my mind how we didn't even scratch the surface. I had probably 3 other directions we could have gone, and the time just gets filled up when you're having a real convo. So that's the theme of this podcast.
Yeah.
Real conversations with real people talking about real stuff.
We're just chopping it.
Just chopping it. Same as always. Just chopping it.
Great podcast. Shout out Murid, man. Murid.
Murid. It's a marketing tool.
So the real question is, do you want to start off with a question, or do you want me to start off with a question?
So we're talking about current events. The way we've structured this is to keep it real, always. We're not giving each other things. We wanted to look up things in the current environment or current what's going on socially, all of that stuff. I have a few topics that I have or questions. I know you have some. We haven't vetted them with each other. So why don't we go, hot potato style? You can go first. I have no idea what's coming, and then I'll go after and ask you some questions, and we'll see however long this takes, if we do all of it and some of it and just kind of feel it out. How about that?
Absolutely. And let us say, outside of real estate, we are not experts. We're guys just chopping it, giving opinions.
You know how there's legal disclosures and financial disclosures and all of that? I consult your attorney or your tax person or whatever. We are not experts in anything that at least I have on my list. So the plan is just to talk and you get our perspectives, but we're not experts on anything we're talking about.
Don't you make any decisions based off this conversation.
Do not. Or do. I don't
know. So I guess right now in the world, right? Boy. June 1st or June 5th, I don't know. They keep changing their mind. But America's domestic and foreign credit card is about to tap out. What do you think about the debt ceiling, man? Is it real? Is it gonna collapse the economy? What's your thought on that? Give me your little spiel.
So here's the interesting thing, okay? On the debt ceiling, I can talk a lot about this in a lot of different ways. We are at a pivotal time in history where the government, Congress, and the president have to come to an agreement. For those who don't know, the debt ceiling is basically the U.S. ability to pay our debts, and that is funded by the government. So we're at this point where we have expenses that are coming that we're not able to pay beyond a certain date. It was originally going to be June 1st. We're recording this as of May 27th. As of May 26th, they pushed it off to June 5th. So we have all of these moving dates and whatever. We're talking about something where we're not going to know the outcome of until June 5th, but we're not going to post this till probably well after this. So it's going to be very interesting. Here's my thoughts on it as a whole. All right, I'm ranting, but here's my thoughts. Man, I can go a few different directions. Let me start with a quote. I love quotes, okay?
Quote?
It's a quote. All right, well, it's not really a quote. It's more a metaphor. When I heard this the first time, and I don't know who it is, shout out to whoever it is, but America's national animal is what, Miguel?
An eagle, right?
The bald eagle,
I
right?
believe.
And they said that it's a great metaphor for America. where in America, we have a two-party system, Democrats and Republicans. And each of those parties is a wing of the eagle. And it was interesting because it's like it almost seems like we're always fighting between the two parties. But in a weird way, I think it's critical that we have both of them. So we'd always kind of make them at war with each other. But I truly think if you had one without the other, we wouldn't have balance. And you need both to work. Here's the problem with the debt ceiling. Neither of the wings are flapping. And we need the wings to flap, okay? The wings flapping is us paying our bills. And as of today, we got two wings that aren't flapping. And we're very quickly approaching the ground. So here's my thought on the debt ceiling. We need our wings to start flapping. Democrats and Republicans, I don't care who you are, to start making deals happen, aka flap your wings, and let's come to a point where we can actually make a deal. That is how America runs. We make deals, we make things happen, we make things go, and the biggest problem, without even getting into the ideology of the debt crisis, is they need to make a deal happen, and they can't be children and being stubborn. A deal needs to get made by June 5th, and America needs to pay our debt. Non-negotiable. It has to happen.
Raise the ceiling. Raise the ceiling.
Oh, is that your take after all that?
Just raise the ceiling.
Raise the ceiling.
And I would also say, what happened where at first you were like, you know what, we're going to run out by June 1st? No, hold on. We actually got enough to get us to June 5th.
They looked at their budget and they said that they had enough in the reserves to pay through the 5th.
They were like, we got 5 more days, guys.
We got a couple extra billion they didn't see under the mattress.
Hopefully they didn't overlook a program or two. I hope that's never happened before.
Well, the other thing is that's kind of what's at stake. Is I don't think people understand when they hear these things in the news and whatever, they're like, oh, the debt ceiling, and they maybe understand the buzzword. If the wings don't start flapping, if the Democrats and Republicans can't come to an agreement and the debt ceiling doesn't get raised, programs don't get funded, and that impacts Americans. So I'm not saying that we have a good system or a perfect system. I think that a lot of things need to get fixed, but at the end of the day, come to an agreement. America's made on deals. Let's make a deal.
Let's make a deal. Now, I hit you with the topic. Now we're going to hit you with the Jeopardy portion of this topic.
Oh, no.
No. Okay. I'll be very interested if you know this.
Oh, stat questions for me. Usually it's the other way around.
You got me with stat questions last time.
Right.
Made me look stupid. Now I got a few for you. So here are the top categories for what we spent our money on in the United States. Let's see if you can guess just the top 2. But I'll give you 6 of the top categories.
I can already tell you number 1 without you even telling me.
Okay.
Defense spending, without a doubt.
You would be surprised
that I'm right?
That you're wrong.
No.
Yeah.
Defense spending is not the number 1 expense in government spending.
So here, let me tell you the categories: Social Security, defense, health insurance, economic security, benefits for vets and federal retirees. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Interest of debt.
Ooh.
According to, I'm going to look this up after, but according to the organization that I got this information from.
Great fact check right there.
It wasn't from Twitter.
Fact checking according to the organization.
We'll get Dobby to fact check this.
You know what? Actually, I take it back. I think that after hearing those, that's interesting. I still would have thought defense spending would be number 1.
I thought it was too.
But if I were to recalibrate my answer, knowing that the interest rates have risen and our debt so high, I would imagine that interest payments would probably be our number 1, and Social Security or defense spending would be number 2. How do I do?
You're wrong.
Wrong. I know nothing.
Okay, let me just tell you. Number 1 thing we spend our money on, according to this source, and we'll double fact check me. Health insurance at 25%. Way. And then you were close. Social Security is 21%. And then defense comes in third at 13%. And then economic security programs come in at fourth, 11%. Then it's benefits for veterans and federal retirees at 7%. And then interest of debt, 7%. And then there's a bunch of
that's also shifting. So I don't know when you pulled that number, because when interest rates have gone up and the Fed's raising interest rates, that $31 trillion of debt we have pending, that has a higher payout. So maybe that's a retroactive one. And I could still be wrong. I'm very surprised to hear health insurance, though.
I'll be honest. I Googled these stats, so I got this off like the first or second.
What is it,
Google.
Wikipedia?
Nah, it wasn't Wikipedia. It was like I don't remember, and
All right, I could be
the
wrong.
Center on Budget and Policy Priorities.
Move one. Pause. Timeout, everyone.
Oh.
Yeah, we were going to get through the whole episode without that. So as of episode 1, we had a break in between because we don't do it during the interviewing guest episodes. We do a chess match. Miguel, how about you give us the results of round 1? Who won?
Forgot.
I can remember quite clearly, and Davi, if we are going to put an edit up, I think we should have like our faces and then the scoreboard. We can make it a big 1-0 Theo. He cleaned house on the first game, and he just made the first move of the second game. So here we go.
1-0, whatever.
Great
You
comeback.
got it. You got the first one.
All right.
I
Debt
was
ceiling.
busy answering questions.
So
So
you
it's
say
for-
raise the debt ceiling. Okay, those are interesting, but you say raise the debt ceiling. I say raise the debt ceiling and start figuring this out, but neither here nor there. I think interesting thing. I could go on this probably for a whole episode. I don't want to give away all my personal gripes with everything going on, but flap your wings, America.
Nice. Center of Budget and Policy Priorities.org. That's where I got this information. Davi, I don't know if you want to fact
At least
check.
it's a .org. I would have
It's a
preferred
.org.
a .gov, but hey,
Hey,
whatever.
I don't think they know, right?
I would
that's
hope
why we're
they
in
know.
this mess. That's why they don't know. They said June 1st.
All right,
June
so
5th. It could be
you
tomorrow.
say raise the debt. You think it's going to happen?
I guess I'll know by the time this comes out, right?
So here's a fact that just I know off the top of my head because I follow this. How many times has Congress had to make a decision on it?
A lot.
Okay.
Like
I know the number.
They haven't come through a resolution since like 2000 or something like that.
Well, we've never defaulted on our debt. It's never happened.
Yeah.
There's like 8 countries that have done it ever, and we're not one of them. And we are the national or the global reserve currency. So if we default on our debt, it's a big deal. But how many times has Congress gotten to this point where they had to come to an agreement to raise the debt ceiling? And every time they have voted to do it, how many times do you think that's happened?
I don't know.
Give me a guess. You made me guess.
8 times.
8 times.
8 times.
Add 70 to that, and I believe, you can fact check me on that, 78 times Congress has been in this situation with the president, and they've always come through. So I have faith in America, even though I don't think we're flapping our wings very efficiently. I think they're going to come to a deal. I think there's no way that, or I hope to God there's no way that the U.S. defaults on their debt.
Because that would make me sick that, like, we're out here not being able to pay our debts as a country, but we got to pay the banks every week for our mortgages and rent and like the taxes, you know what I mean?
It's a really good point. I think that when we are the standard that the world looks to and the citizens look to, you got to follow through on your promises and you got to pay your debts. And that makes your citizens pay your debts and that makes foreign countries pay your debts. So it's like there's more than just that stake than just the social programs that are in order. This is kind of like how the world operates. So I have a lot of strong feelings, but I will, once again, for the 5th time, just say flap your wings.
Congress got mad that people made hella money on crypto and they're over here paying their debts. How about you use some of that crypto money to pay the debts, man? What's going on? All right, we'll move on to the next one.
Okay, so for
Go
you,
ahead, Theo.
I have 7 categories. We'll do them at random. Only one of them's mandatory.
Let's get it.
So pick a number 1 to 7, and that's the question I'll ask
4.
you. 4. Oh, that's actually very weird. It's one of the untrending things, and I had cryptocurrency. So what is your thoughts on cryptocurrency? That's crazy. You just said it.
Wow.
All right, so you mentioned
Unscripted. Swear to God.
Unscripted. Number 4. What do you think about cryptocurrency as a whole? What do you think about it?
I think, I think it's an interesting concept. The fact that there is different, different sources of money that isn't backed by the U.S. dollar, right?
Or any dollar.
Or like any dollar.
currency.
I think one of the biggest controversies is that there are like bad organizations and bad people who use crypto to funnel money around. But at the same time, I would say, like, historically speaking, things can get bad across the world, and it would be nice to have a source of money in case you yourself as an individual have to be flexible with your living situation. Historically speaking, over the last 150 years or however long America's been around, or 250 years, that's great. But when we look over thousands and thousands of years, like very few countries have been around for a long time. So, who's to say you won't need crypto in 30, 40 years? Whether I think it's going to stick around, no idea. I have no idea because it doesn't look like the government is looking too favorably on this. I've seen a lot of politicians say stuff like tax the hell out of crypto, get rid of crypto. America needs its own crypto. That's one crypto I don't believe in. If America makes their own crypto, that's one anti-crypto I'm probably not gonna get.
You wouldn't buy into the?
Nah, I mean they'll probably make us buy into it, so I'll probably get it if I have to.
Well, that's a different topic, which is digital currencies.
Yeah.
And that's on the way too.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you actually watch kind of the subtle narrative out there.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve, government, politicians, a bunch of different people out there have started hinting at a digital currency. Very different than crypto. I think crypto is kind of what you were talking about in my eyes, which is a independent currency that's digitalized on a blockchain, which is kind of like a hedge against national currencies. And then a government digital currency is like literally the opposite, even though aside from it being digital, it's their way to track your spending.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very interesting to see. It's probably going to... The one thing I do know is it's going to go one or the other. Cash is a commodity that won't be around as actively. It already isn't. How many people do you know carry cash on them? Do you carry cash?
I carry cash. I don't carry like an insane amount of cash, but I carry like, you know what I'm saying? Like enough money where if I need it, I can use it, but not enough where someone would think it's worth it to rob me.
Yeah, I mean, I carry probably more. Well, I don't know if I should be saying this so that people know, but
don't say it.
I carry cash on me. I carry cash.
Not a lot.
There's something about having some cash in your wallet. When you open up your wallet, you're like, hey, I got some cash.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, I do. If you ever see the big fish, just know we got some cash on it.
Hey, you know what? I don't really have cash on me. I never have cash.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, that's just kind of my thing. I think it's a hedge against national currencies, but the digital currency versus the cryptocurrency, two different things. One of the two, I think, is happening. So, do you think you'd invest in the future?
One thing I've thought about investing, and this is going to be so ironic. I've had this conversation with my own brother. Dogecoin. I just think, here's the thing. All crypto is really like speculative. Like it's speculative. It's not like investing into a company where, every quarter they produce results and money. Like the biggest crypto out, Bitcoin, no one knows who made that shit. We are assuming because it has more value than other cryptos that it's going to be around. Yeah, but we don't know who that is. It's a pseudonym.
Yeah.
So like, if we found out tomorrow that like I don't know, one of the Nelk boys made Bitcoin, I think the value of it would drop significantly, or maybe it would go up. I don't know, but that's the thing.
I think it would go down if that's the case.
We don't know like the future of crypto, and there's no historic trends that we can really see for a long-term effect. But way different than the markets. But I will say, because it's so speculative, if I were to invest in something right now, and I'm not telling anyone to do anything with their money, but Miguel Rodas, I would actually look into Dogecoin because I've seen Elon Musk hint at using Dogecoin as a source of currency.
So you're not a fan of Dogecoin. You're a fan of Elon Musk in that case. You're betting, not a fan, you're betting on Elon to make it worth something.
Yeah, just the way he's been using Twitter. Like, he's using Twitter as a really cool platform since he's taken it over to send out a lot of information all over the place. And from what I understand, he hasn't said that like you can use Dogecoin to buy things through Twitter at all, but he does give a lot of reference to it. So if he just turned around tomorrow and was like, hey, you can pay for things using Dogecoin, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be somebody who's like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe it. I didn't see this coming. Like he jokes about things and then he does them, right? Like he joked about buying Twitter for the longest time. And my brother knows this. Way before he bought Twitter, like 6 months before, I was really like, I got a feeling he's going to buy Twitter. Like, I know it sounds like I'm bullshitting right now, but I was saying that because he kept talking about it. And I thought if there's someone who could do it, one of the most richest people in the world would probably be the one to do it.
He moves different than a lot of the other people out there. he kind of makes decisions based on what he wants to do, and he's in a position where he can do that. So
He can do whatever he wants.
yeah, Dogecoin.
Almost.
If it blows up, we'll look back to this episode and say, should have listened to the Big Fish Little Fish podcast.
No, don't listen to us.
They were giving very specific financial investment advice, and you didn't listen to it.
I've given 0 financial investment advice. Miguel is just speculative. He does his own thing, not a CFP or nothing like that.
Okay. All right, so that's mine, crypto. What's up with you?
Cool.
Hot potato.
Okay. Hot potato. Okay, I got a couple of good ones. You know what? This is kind of a current event. Can you beat Austin Rivers one-on-one in a basketball game?
Okay, so here we go. This
one-on-one basketball game. Can you beat Austin Rivers?
All right. Let me make this very clear. Austin Rivers? Absolutely. Not even close, okay? Am I saying I'm NBA talent basketball player? No, I'm not. You put me out in an NBA basketball game, I'm not dropping a lot of points. I score, but not a lot of points, okay? But here's the thing. I'll give you a quick story. I think when you are out in the environment and you see people, you can size them up. You know what I mean? Like it's no matter what you're doing. You're playing basketball. You're going into a negotiation. You can size up a person. You have to. That's how you make decisions, right? I was in D.C. I was going to actually a ramen restaurant right across from the Wizards Arena, and I saw Austin Rivers. And I was surprised on the downside as to what I thought he was capable of. If you had asked me before I saw Austin Rivers, I'm not out here saying like specifically I think I could beat him, but then I saw him and I was like, I could beat him. He didn't have the dog in him that I think I have. And you know what? I'm not scared to say it either, because here's the thing. If life is on the line, I got the dog in me. And you know what I mean? And like you put me on a court with him, I just don't think, even though he's a very talented player, yada, 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 I just saw him. And like there's a lot of NBA players I couldn't beat. But I saw him and I had no fear. No fear. Yeah. And I think if I don't have fear, I'm beating him.
Facts. Okay. So what move you hitting him with?
Mostly just like taking him to the rack.
Taking him to the rack.
Yeah. I saw him.
All right.
I saw him and I was like, he doesn't have the dog in his eyes. Okay, hot take. He don't got the dog in his eyes. He wasn't looking to like. He's not a pit bull. You know what I mean? He's kind of like a. And sorry, Austin Rivers. Like, you're invited on the pod. I guess I'll do my invite.
Hey, you're probably not gonna come on the pod, but
if you want to debate it out, but like, I'm not saying you're like a Chihuahua. I'm just saying like you're not a pit bull, and I'm a pit bull when it comes down to it. So. So one-on-one, me and Austin Rivers squared up, life on the line. Who gets 11 points first? Ones and twos. I get ball first. Make it, take it. I'm winning.
I can't beat Austin Rivers.
We know you can't beat Austin Rivers.
I cannot beat this man.
Is there an NBA player you can beat one-on-one?
Hell no. But you know what? Every episode that we just do, you and me, I'm going to ask you one person, can you beat them one-on-one? It's not going to be an NBA player every time, but I'm going to ask you one, and then I'll also give my input, because there are other people out here that I'm like, could you beat them one-on-one? Like, could you beat The Rock one-on-one in a basketball game? The Rock. Me too.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he can hoop.
I don't think he could hoop. Yeah. I don't think he can hoop. The Rock, you are more than welcome to come on the pod and respond. Austin Rivers, hopefully you don't get too sick at this and challenge Theo to like a $50,000
I'm sure he's heard people chirp and like he hears it all the time. It's just the only difference is I actually could do it, you know. I saw it.
Okay, you got it.
How many things have I said in my life where I was like, you know what, I could do this, and I did it.
All right.
They don't seem like they should, but
all right. Yeah. We're just chopping it.
Don't got the dog like me.
All right.
My turn. All right, give me a number one. That's going to be a brief one. I don't need to deep dive into that. Give me a number 1 to 7, not 4.
2.
2. Okay. All right, this one's a little more professional, actually, so we're going to serious up for a little bit. What are your thoughts on work from home versus working from the office?
I think it just matters what you do. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, if you work in, like, construction, you have to be on site.
That is fair.
You know what I mean? You can't like nail something down from home. You know? I mean, I guess you could. Then you have to put it in your car, drive it over, and stand it up. You still got to go. You got to be in there. So I think it just depends on the profession. I think also matters like the business or the organization, like what kind of culture they have and like what their expectations of you are. Like, I think there are a lot of jobs that can be done from home. I think people are just sick that they can't monitor it because, but as long as the work's getting done, I just don't think it matters.
Do you think people are as obviously it can be done, but do you think people are as productive from home versus, let's say we're talking a corporate job, a lot of work on your laptop? Do you think people as a whole, on average, are as productive or more productive at home, or are they more productive in the office?
Yeah, I'll be honest. For me, I've worked. My last few jobs have been well. One of my last few jobs was in consulting, and in consulting, like we had a lot of meetings. There was a lot of like just people sometimes looking to like not work or talk or whatever. And sometimes I feel like I was way more locked in at home than I was at the office. Like, and I can't speak for everybody. Like maybe some people couldn't get anything done, but I was way more productive at home. I had a way better setup at home. And then, I've worked with a nonprofit as well, where the office that they had, like it was okay, but my setup at home is just like on point, and I get a lot more work done. And like, it also depends on the office space you have set up that the business organization gives you. Like if you have your own office, you can take calls and be as loud as you want and do what you have to do, and you may not be distracted. But let's say you're in a bullpen and you got 30 people around you, right? The person next to you is eating some nasty ass lasagna and it's bothering you. You can sniff it. They make a lot of noise when they eat, and you're just like, damn, I wish I was home right now, so it just depends. Knee-jerk reaction, but this is just based off my experience. Like, I think working from home is better. But I guess it's funny because in real estate, right, you and I spend a lot of time in the office working. But I think we have a special position because we keep each other accountable. And
okay, so that's kind of, I was trying to hear you fully out, and I agree. In certain activities, if you need to be head down and work, sometimes being at home is better because there's not the distractions. But I do think there's a missing element, and maybe that's why the hybrid model is being a little more explored. But I just remember when I was a new hire working for Deloitte out of college, didn't know anything about how to work. And if I wasn't in a room watching people operate, you learn by watching, looking over my shoulder, asking someone a question, having them show it on my laptop, those types of things, having the accountability, because I do think people can be lazy at times. Having someone look at you when you would be on your phone at your house or doing laundry or taking a nap or whatever, like, I don't know. I tend to lean the other direction where, yes, there are certain activities and times where working from home could be beneficial, but at the end of the day, you need to be in a work environment around your colleagues, picking up things from them, giving them things, and kind of having an accountability system. So maybe it's also somewhat dependent on the person and their individual style, but I do think we're missing a lot in the work from home space where there's just institutional knowledge not getting passed over that you just can't send in a Zoom message or a Skype message or a ping or whatever. Like, I would be nervous asking someone a question that I would have asked them in person over a Zoom that I've never met in person before, and I don't know them except for a face on a call. So I don't know. I think we are a lot of yin and yang on certain things, but I'm a big work from the office guy. That's why we go. If you didn't notice, accountability in person together.
That's fair. And there's nothing, and there's like I said, nothing wrong with, in my opinion, working from home, working from the office, as long as the work gets done. And it just varies from person. Very, like if you just can't get anything done at work, go to at the office, go to work. Like, I don't know how else to say it.
Okay. All right. Interesting. Different opinions on that one.
Okay.
Did you agree with me on Austin Rivers, by the way? You think I can beat him?
Do I think you can beat Austin Rivers?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't.
So you had to put money on it. You're putting money on Austin Rivers?
I was literally just about to say, if Austin Rivers sees this and he gets triggered and he's like, I want to play that guy. Come play me. Because I've actually seen him. He be getting upset over like things. I've seen him get upset about things on the internet.
Weak mental state. I'd be in his head before we even dribbled the ball.
Well, if y'all put money on it.
Life on the line, though. That's an important aspect.
Life on the line.
If I was saying, like, play to 11 for fun, like, you'd probably beat me. But life on the line. Everything you got, you're putting it on that floor. Who you putting money on? Honestly. And I'm not going to get upset.
Here's the thing. And people don't know this, man. Theo Theo has come in clutch in a lot of crazy things, just in life. And he would be the type of person to get lucky enough to play him
It's
to
not low.
5 and hit like
It's not
some
low.
crazy fadeaway jumpers. But I'll still go Austin Rivers. I'll
Okay,
be honest.
fair enough.
I'm
It's
like,
a safe answer.
I've seen NBA caliber
Invest in
players
Elon Musk and Dogecoin, but don't invest in me.
in
That's fine.
person, and they're just like,
All right,
yeah.
you're up next. Just had to get your perspective because we all know mine is.
okay. So I saw. So right now there's a housing shortage, right?
Yes.
Inventory zone. We're actually talking about something that we actually work in.
Okay.
But it looks like they're about to start ruling out. Lenders are about to start ruling out 1% down mortgages. I just saw Rocket Mortgage, right? Yeah, Rocket Mortgage is about to start dropping only 1% down on a mortgage to compete with, I think it was United Wholesale Mortgage or something like that. Initial knee-jerk reaction. What do you think? You think that's good with the state of the real estate market right now? Is that?
Okay, so this truly is unscripted, and I don't know anything about that program. So if you're asking me the question, what do I think about 1% down programs as a whole? I don't know what Rocket Mortgage is offering. If it's some sort of there's things behind it and criteria and all that, I don't know. But if you were to ask me at face value, do I think 1% down mortgages are a good idea? I would say no. Really, to give people context, and this isn't to get too technical nerdy, but most mortgages, if you're a conventional, is 3% down. FHA is 3.5% down, and that's for first-time home buyers. VA is probably the only option or major option where you can get a 0% down loan, and that is specifically tailored towards veterans or active duty military. So there's an specific incentivization to give them housing. In general, I think there is what we saw in the past is if people don't have enough skin in the game for buying housing, there's a lot higher chance of default, and maybe you aren't getting as qualified of a buyer out there, so there's more risk in the marketplace. I think it's a tough balance we're in right now. There is a housing shortage. Prices are really high, so we need to make sure that people can continue to get housing. But at the same time, just because that's happening, you can't necessarily just start changing standards to get people able to be housed. I think there are other things that you could attack that's wrong with the housing market. Like, as opposed to that, why don't we start really focusing on building more houses? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Giving more houses out there would also, if we really increase the supply of it, then we have a better supply-demand balance, and then we don't have to do things like dropping down to 1% mortgages, or down payments. So I think there's a lot of times in just a lot of categories, people look for the easy solution, and I think it comes from a good place. I could see why someone would want to offer 1% down because that helps more people who qualify for it. But at the same time, what's worse, someone not being able to get a house that should, or someone getting a house and then going into bankruptcy because they shouldn't have had it? So my thought process is knee-jerk reaction, not a fan. Let's address the other problems in the housing industry, get more houses out there, make more affordable housing, and give people more techniques to become financially in a position where they can buy a house the right way. What about you?
I hate to tie this back into the debt ceiling, but we've sent a few $100 billion to other places in the world. I don't want to point to any particular places, but what if we had spent that money on building houses in the United States? You think there'd be less of a shortage right now? Maybe, but who knows? We're just a couple guys chopping it.
Just a couple guys.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't run anything.
We don't run anything.
I mean, if we did, well, that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast. I mean, yes, there could be other ways to, same thing I was saying. There's other ways to address the housing crisis without having to drop standards. That is my takeaway without getting into any specific direction.
If we spent some money in building up these houses, we'd be fixing one problem and creating employment for people domestically in the U.S. That would be kind of cool, but obviously we don't make the rules here. Hey, no.
All right.
Is it my turn or your turn?
It's my turn. You
Okay.
just asked that. 1 through 7, you've done 2, 4. Give me a number. 1, 2, 3, 7. It's not 2 or 4.
Let's go 1.
1. Okay. All right. What is your favorite social media platform and why?
So I actually didn't even have social media like that till last summer. So I think I'll say Twitter. I'm gonna say Twitter because Twitter is nuts. I don't tweet. I literally just look at tweets, and it's people just say the most ridiculous stuff on there. And I think a lot of really like good information comes out on Twitter. And like you just see the wildest stuff on Twitter, and people roast the hell out of each other on Twitter. Um, I think that's probably another reason I wouldn't want to be on Twitter. I would get roasted. Twitter's definitely the most fun for me.
So you use Twitter, and you're saying it's more from entertainment.
Yeah, it's totally.
Is it a source of? Do you use it as a source of like valuable information, or is it truly like an entertainment?
No, I follow a lot of like really great informational accounts. I follow political figures. I follow businessmen. I follow
such a wide range. It's entertaining, people
everything.
Roasting each other with. And I have seen some hilarious ones you've
Twitter's
sent me.
Nuts.
To all the way to some helpful, valuable information.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if this counts, but this is going to be mine. YouTube. Would you consider that a social media platform?
I guess I do, but I didn't think about that, and I would change my answer.
So here's my thing. Here's why I would say it's a social media platform, even though I think it's like that plus more. I know it's like I think it's actually the second or third. It's either the second or third biggest search engine after. It's the second after Google, and the wild thing is that Google owns it. So it's like Google has the top two. So it's a search engine. So that's where I could see the case of why it's not a social media platform specifically. But then also like influencers and different like, social figures are on there just putting up entertainment content too. So to me, it kind of like almost what you were saying, but in the video version, maybe a little less roasting going on, and the comments are still kind of wild there. But it's a great way to get information. You can watch cats for days. You can watch, like videos on politics. You can watch videos on, economic. You literally can watch whatever you want. You can search pretty much anything. There's a bunch of handy things, like especially in the real estate industry. If you need to know how to fix something, go YouTube it first. Before you call someone, go YouTube it, because I guarantee you there's like 8 videos showing you step by step how you can do it first. Some things you can't do, but I just think it's a really cool venue. And if you looked on my like time usage, YouTube gets a big share of my time. So I spend a lot of time on there. So if you allow me to say it's a social media, that would be my answer.
Okay. Good.
Davi with the fact check saying it was second, by the way. So shout out to Davi.
Shout out Davi.
Always ready to go.
I guess it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
I was right at 40, by the way.
40? Okay.
Okay.
All right. One more each. How about that?
Okay.
One last
more
question,
each.
because we could do this for hours, but
I'll save one of them for next time, but I think this one's good just for sound bites. Okay. And this one's an easy one. You don't gotta sweat for this one. Can you name 3 local businesses you would like on our podcast?
Yes.
Just give 3.
3. The one that I would be most excited to have, and I've already started kind of trying to see how we could make this happen, would be the founder of the Great American Chain of restaurants. So everyone who loves like Mike's American Grill, Silverado, Sweetwater,
Coastal Flats.
Coastal Flats. Yeah, there's that one. I think there's one called. I was looking it up. There's 16 or 17 different restaurants now. And it's just a crazy environment they've created where it doesn't matter where you go. Slightly different vibe, but same experience. Just casual all the way to upper casual. Great food, great experience every time. So I think they've created a really cool niche business model. So them, off the top of my head, there's a really cool taco spot I went. It's called Taco Bamba. They're in Springfield. I don't know if they're a chain or not, but I've been there, and it's just like they created a cool restaurant. So that's 2 restaurants. And then another business, let me think outside of just the restaurant field. Give me a second on that. You give me your top 2, and I'll think of one more.
Okay. So on the restaurant chain stuff, one person I'd love to have on is the founders of Pollo Rico. And they originally started in Arlington, but they have a branch in Woodbridge where I live, and their food is just fire. Like I've been eating their chicken since I was literally like 4 or 5 years old. My mom used to take me there all the time. So emotionally, like I have an attachment to them, and they're from the area. So I would love to just talk to them about where they started out. I've already done a lot of research on them, so I definitely have questions I would ask. And then secondly, Ted, and I might be butchering his last name, Leonsis. He's the owner of the company that owns the Washington Wizards. I'd love to have him on and just say, hey man, what are we doing about the Wizards? I wanna win a championship. What's going on? What are we thinking? Who are we drafting this year? Not that he would probably tell us, but that being said, like I'd love to just chop it, find out how he came to actually own an NBA team, because I know it's not easy to do. Like I just listened to Matt Ishbia, who purchased the Suns. If he wants to come to the pod, he's more than welcome to. He was on the Bill Simmons podcast. If he wants to come to the pod, he's more than welcome to. He was talking about how difficult it is. Like you can't just be a billionaire and show up and buy a team. Like there's a whole process to it. So getting to hear our local guy talk about his process to buy the Wizards would be cool. And then curveball, third is I would like to talk to the founder of Bishop Events. They're the ones. Oh,
yeah, that's a great one.
Theo and I have done a bunch of like 10Ks, half marathons. Yeah. They started helping us like get into like the running.
And they're a nonprofit, which is
they're
really
nonprofit. Cool. They always do really cool things. And we still go to their races, and we just think the way that they're set up is awesome.
That's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah. One. Whoever you are, you're welcome.
We'll do some research, and we're going to invite them on next episode.
Yeah.
We'll get them off script. This isn't a local one, but I'm going to cheat. It's actually a national/global one, but I'm a nerd for them. I want to get the founder or CEO of Costco on.
Okay.
We're setting our goals high. Costco is maybe my favorite institution in America. So I would love to hear kind of like how they did what they did, starting as like a warehouse, restaurant, grocery store type thing, whatever, and how they've done what they do, and like how the business model works, and how many people come in there, and the supply chain behind it, and how they still sell their pizzas for $10 and their rotisserie chickens for $4.99, like all the above. I just would love to get into the numbers with them and like the story. So not local at all, but I'm going one national global. Well, it's a cheating one.
You're a Costco shareholder, right?
I am a Costco shareholder.
When you're a Costco
Hopefully
shareholder,
it's not a conflict of interest.
Well, it's fine. It's fine. Come on.
Okay, so those are our three. And I'm going to wrap it up with the last question for you, okay? And hopefully, I know we're getting longer in this episode than we thought, but do you believe in UFOs?
Theo knows I believe in UFOs. I do believe in UFOs. Well, actually, let me change that. I always believed in UFOs until probably the last 6 months. I've zagged on Theo a little bit.
Oh, no.
As people are starting to believe in UFOs, I'm a little less confident that they exist. I think a lot of times the government lies, believe it or not. Right? We've caught them lying before. And I would say for the longest time, they told us they didn't exist. So I was like, oh, they exist. For sure. But now they're like, Space Force to defend us from like extraterrestrial stuff. And I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
One of many reasons for the Space Force.
No, but one thing that they've been talking about is like for extraterrestrial, like they have literally been like, there's in case we get attacked by something not of this earth. And it's like, what does that mean? And I'll say this, I just don't. I'm not, now that they're a little more gung-ho about what's going on, I'm a little more like, is that for real? Like, and last thing, Elon Musk, who I've seen him on the Joe Rogan podcast talk about this, and he makes a great point, and it made me sick because it was such a great point when I first started being like, how can you deny aliens? Why can't we get a solid picture of these things?
I said that point before he put that on there.
He did say that point.
We had a lot of debates, and I had said, oh, you mean these fuzzy pictures? And before I said that to you, and when I said it, you were like, oh, we just couldn't capture it. You had a whole excuse, and you still believed in the fuzzy pictures. Hold on. So you still believed in the fuzzy pictures. But then Elon Musk says literally the same point as me. And then now, all of a sudden, it's a great point. I don't know.
Here's why, though. He was like, here's the way he put it. And Theo did say that. For the record, I give it to Theo. Theo was like, why can't no one get a picture? Why can't da-da-da? Elon was like, the camera quality to our phones have done nothing but get better, but the shittiness of the pictures have stayed the same. I mean, not word for word quote, but basically I just got an iPhone. The quality of this phone is ridiculous how good the quality is. 7 billion people on this earth. We can't get one good picture of these things? No, I'm zagging. I'm moving away from the UFO thoughts.
Okay, good.
What are your thoughts?
You come to your sanity. My thoughts are they out there in the entire universe? I'm not going to say I know they're not out there, but I don't personally believe it. But are they out in our stratosphere and entering Earth's atmosphere? No, they're not. And if they are, these aliens are the biggest trolls on Earth, literally, because they're coming in and booping out and getting half a picture taken of them and doing nothing. Like, what are they doing here? Y'all are all out here like they're all around us. What are they doing? Why would you travel across the universe to come into our? They're so technologically advanced. They come into our atmosphere. They let their pictures get taken blurry, but they don't do anything. All of these years since the 1940s, they haven't done anything to any humans, allegedly. I guess some people said they have, but not en masse. Like, what are they doing here? I think a lot of people just see some very strange things, and when you can't explain it, you just default to UFO alien stuff. But like, I don't believe it, and I don't think it's happening.
I still think there is a chance that they exist. Like, if we're talking about percentages,
there, but not on Earth.
If we're saying percentages, I still give them like a 3 to 5% chance that they exist. I'm not saying there's no way they don't exist. I used to think there was like a 10 to 12% chance, but I've zagged a bit.
You used to think there was a 60 to 70%.
I did never.
You were passionate about
one moment, one little side story.
You were 90% chance.
Theo got me one time with one of the sickest
This is how we wrap up the podcast.
It was worse.
Best prank I've ever done.
One of the worst pranks I ever had done on me. So Theo knows how much I've wanted to like.
Speaking of Twitter.
Yeah, so Theo wanted me to... Tails always wanted to convince me that there were not UFOs. So one morning, it's early in the morning, it's probably like 7 a.m. He calls me, dude, oh my gosh, you won't believe it. You were right. UFOs are real. And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, dude, didn't you just see one of the Boeing planes got taken by an alien? I was like, no way. And I started freaking out. I was like, damn, they're here. They're going to kill us all. Tails right. I'm looking on Google. He's like, dude, it's all over the news. And I'm looking on Washington Post.
I was like, refresh your page.
Refreshing Washington Post. I'm going to New York Times. I'm like, hold on, maybe it's only on Twitter. And I went on Twitter and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, Theo, I'm not seeing this shit. And he's like, just laughing.
I just cracked up. Like, I held it as long as I could.
Oh, bro,
talk about gullible. You wanted to believe
I wanted the aliens to be true, and that's part of the problem. That's another reason why I'm zagging. That one got me too bad. That had me sick.
Anyway, so podcast number 3, we did a little bit of Q&A on current events. I think we have some topics we want to hit coming up, but we figured, hey, let's just chop it up and talk about some random stuff and see who we are and what we think about these things. Some similar opinions, some different ones. I still could beat Austin Rivers, but you know, if we get him on the pod, I'll prove it. I'll put my life on the line with that. But next one, we'll talk about some stuff, and we got some guests coming up. So more on the way, but good one, brother. Good to chat with you again.
Good to chat with you again. Shout out to the Pope.
Shout out to
did I
the
do at
Pope.
the beginning of the pod?
That's how you started the pod.
Wanted to make sure that he knows he's welcome.
You're on his register now. He's watching you, man.
Sounds good.
Soon enough. All right, brother. Peace.
All right, bro.